श्रीवासरङ्गपरकालमुनित्रयाप्तलक्ष्मात्मरक्षणयतिद्योगागमान्तम् आचार्यभक्तिपरिपूतमनर्घशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः। पराशरं मुनिवरं कृतपौर्वान्निह क्रियं मैत्रेयपरिपप्रच्छ प्रणिवद्याभिवाद्य च. We are enjoying, because of Acharya Anugraham, the most wonderful divine Vishnu Puranam. Vishnu Puranam is one of the 6 Sattvika Puranams, the first among the Puranams, and it was narrated by sage Parasarar to sage Maitreya when Maitreya inquired 6 generic questions, and the answer burst out into Vishnu Puranam. So now we enjoyed the Dhruva Charitram, Prahlada Charitram, Varaha Puranam, and all that, Prithumaha Chakravarti, all that we enjoyed. Last week we were narrating, as mentioned by sage Parasara, narrating about the king Bharata. The king Bharata breathed his last. He attained the Perumal Trivadi. He died thinking about his darling pet deer. He took birth as a deer because whatever one thinks of at the final moment, at the time of death, they would take birth in that object or in that form, as also mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita that we saw last week. So, Yam Yam Vapi, that slokam. As the king had followed the Bhakti Yogam and the spiritual path in all its entirety, is so much perfection, very properly he was following the Bhakti Yogam. He was blessed to recall the past life even though he took birth as a deer. So, the deer, as soon as the king took birth as a deer, he did not become one among the deer group, the herd. He did not want to belong to that group, that herd. He detached himself from that herd and went to Shaligrama Kshetram, the deer, because he was very much aware of his past and he knew that this is one of the final phases of his life. So he went to Shaligrama Kshetram. He was contemplating as a deer on the Lord. Then he passed away, had his final moments, and took next birth in life as a Brahmin. Even though he could recall all the past Vedic verses, the whatever that he had learnt as King Bharata, he preferred to be taught by somebody, and he pretended to be an ordinary man so that people will humiliate him. He wanted to behave as if he is a very mediocre person, very normal person, very ordinary being. In fact, he behaved as if he was mentally retarded with low IQ, because people will humiliate a paithyam, konja nagare, a muttal, like that they will start humiliating him. When somebody humiliates us, you are dark, you are short, you are stupid, you are a fool. If somebody humiliates us, even though we are not at fault, even though we cannot blame ourselves for being dark or short or whatever it is all because of our karma. And if somebody humiliates us, somebody is abusing us, scolding us, they are incurring our papam. They are dissolving our papam. They are incurring our papam. They are accruing their papam by removing our papam. So Jadabharatha, the one who took birth as Brahmin, he is called Jadabharatha. He wished to dissolve his papams before he can attain moksham. He has to dissolve both the papam and the punyam. Unless one dissolves the papam and punyam completely, it is difficult to attain moksha. The karmic account of Papa Punyam has to be zero. It has to get cleared. That is why Andal says, Vayinal Padi, Manathinal Sindhikka, Toomalar Thuvit Toldu, Vayinal Padi, Manathinal Sindhikka, Poya Pidayum, Pugataruvan Nindranamum, Thiyinil Dusagum, Sheppelor Embavai. If we offer flowers at his feet, if we sing in praise of him, and if we contemplate him in our mind with Mano Vakayam, the mind, body and speech about the Perumal, we will have all our Sanchita Karma and the Prarabdha Karma get dissolved. And what remains is only for the rest of the life we need that for traveling this journey. So the sins and the punya have to become zero. And you cannot say by committing punya the papa will get dissolved. No, papams will remain as papams. It has to be dissolved. Punyam will remain as punyam. That also needs to be dissolved. If you are attaining moksha, the sins have to be spent separately and the punya have to be spent separately. That is why when you get some few $100 in your bank account, or when you get a promotion, when you get the best of life, you assume that your punya gets dissolved. When somebody scolds you, when you are being humiliated, when you are hurt, you be happy that your papam gets dissolved. And similarly, mind you, when you are scolding somebody, when you are hurting somebody, don't worry, your papam gets increased. So I think we do that more than others accusing us. Anyway, so Jadabharatha's parents took care of the mentally retarded or the appeared to be retarded, the less than mediocre Jadabharatha. They took care of him. But after their demise, after the parents passed away, his brothers, his siblings, the brothers and sisters considered him to be a burden. They thought no point in having him because he is a burden, he is a liability. He is not going to work, he is not studying well. So what's the point? So they just drove him away. So Jadabharatha left home. If people who saw him asked him to do menial jobs, can you sweep the floor? Can you water the plant? Can you clean this? Can you do that? So they ask him to do menial, simple jobs. And he performs the task without expecting anything in return. He never say, how much will you pay? Will you have this provident fund? Will you give me Diwali bonus? All that he is not asking. He would not expect anything in return. He would just do menial jobs as people ask him to do. And often people gave him food for the job that he had completed. They would give him some for lunch, some for dinner, a morsel. So he would just get whatever that he gets, he would eat. Jadabharatha accepted the food in order to sustain his body till his last day on the earth. So Jadabharatha was traveling his journey like that. He was very much aware of his past. He was very much a bhakti yogi, continuously contemplating uninterruptedly on Perumal. He inside his mind. Perhaps he was also uttering the Nama inside. It was like a continuous flow of oil from the container to the another container, with no gap, with no interruption, with no diverting of, no distraction. And one day, Jadabharatha was wandering away from home. He had no idea where he was going. He went just like the legs took him. He had no idea about his destination. He walked and walked without paying any attention to the direction or where he was going. He reached a place where there were few people and they were worshipping Bhadrakali, the demoness Kali with the fearful eyes, with the sulam in her hand and with the tongue protruding, and there was a Kali statue, the deity, and they were performing Kali Puja. They were belonging to a group, and they were very involved in a gruesome, crude, wild puja, which is completely anti-Vedic, non-Vedic practice they were performing, and they were supposed to be doing a human sacrifice, a bali, manida bali. They had to give a sacrifice of a human being. They were preparing for that. So they were saying all that puja. They were offering flowers at Kali, and then they were looking for somebody to be sacrificed, the human being. So they noticed our Jadabharatha, who was somewhat chubby. He was healthy. He was a young, middle-aged or young person, and he was bit chubby, fat, and he had no deformity in his, because if there is even a little bit deformity, they cannot offer the human sacrifice. If the finger is lost, or if the leg is not there, if he is blind, they cannot offer. So he had no deformity. So they immediately jumped on him and carried him to the forest where the Kali temple was there, and Jadabharatha did not resist the attack. He went with them. He never asked, where are you taking me? Where am I going? What are you doing? He never asked anything. The men bathed Jadabharatha. They bathed him, and they decorated him with the most expensive clothes, with the patti pitambaram. Then they adorned him with jewelry. Jadabharatha realized that I think they were planning to sacrifice. That is why they are garlanding me. They are giving me all the golden jewelry. They have dressed me. So, but he was not. He carried two hoods. He was not worried at all. He was not scared, because his life has to end one day. Let it be today. If it ends today, he would attain moksha, because this is his last life, he knew, and hence he could reach the Lord immediately, then and there. So he was not at all, rather he was happy that the end is coming very near. So the men brought Jadabharatha in front of the deity of Bhadrakali Devi. So the priest, chief priest, with the cry of terrifying war, he shouted in a loud voice, and he said, he took a sword, a sharp, long spear, sword, and he rushed towards Jadabharatha. And while others were beating drums, blowing trumpet, and others were waiting eagerly, after his neck is cut, there would be blood oozing out, which we will offer the head to the Bhadrakali, and we would drink the fresh blood coming out of Jadabharatha. They were waiting. And then what happened? Jadabharatha, of course, didn't care. But goddess Kali, she is also a demigod. She has been ordered, because Nattinan Deivamangum Nallador Arul Tannale, Tondaradipudiyalvar mentions in Thirumalai Pasuram, Nattinan Deivamengum Nallador Arul Tannale. Because of the daya of Perumal, he installs so many demigods in the nook and corners of the country, in order for people to be blessed by those demigods, as granted by Vishnu to those demigods. Because Krishna himself says, whoever prays to the whatever deity, whatever god, demigod that they are praying, they would get what they desire for through those demigods, as given by me, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So goddess Kali, who was also a demigod as appointed by Lord Vishnu. So goddess Kali could not bear to see the injustice against Jadabharatha, the Mahan, the Bhagavatottama, the Parama Bhagavata, the Bhakta, carrying out in her name, in the name of Kali, they are going to sacrifice the Bhagavatottama, the Mahan. She appeared from the deity. She sprang out in a lightning speed, with her celestial attendants, with her few other attendants with their dutas. With one single blow, she hit the chief priest, and all the madmen, along with all the madmen gathered at the temple, he hit them, who had gathered there to witness the human sacrifice. So even after witnessing this, Jadabharatha did not feel happy, nor did he feel sad. He was equipoised. He was completely balanced. Before that he was not sad. Now he is not happy, because that's the way the jnanis would behave. You give them $1 million, they would not jump with joy and shout in ecstasy. You make them suffer, they would not cry in pain. They would be normal regardless. He neither rejected the pain nor embraced the pleasure. He just simply walked away from the temple after the incident and went wherever his feet carried him. He reached a pathway which was like an expressway those days, a separate road where there was a big tree, and he sat under a tree, and with a smile on his face he was contemplating on the God, because that is the way Mahans will behave. That's the way Bhagavatas, Bhaktas would continuously contemplate on Perumal. In fact, there is a sloka in Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavihastini Sunischaiva Swapake cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. So the jnanis, the one who has realized the Atman, would see everybody equal. Everybody. Whether it is a dog, whether it is an elephant, whether it is a dog eater, or whether he is a Brahmin, they would see everyone as equal. There is no difference. And they would be seeing the Antaratma Vishnu in each and every one. Because Narayana Suktam says, Antar Bahis Chatat Sarva Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. Narayana is the one who dwells, who resides inside and outside of everything and everyone, who manifests inside and outside of everything and everyone. Antar Bahis Chatat Sarva Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. So when Jadabharatha was sitting under the tree in that road, with contemplating on Perumal with a smile on his face, there was a king who came that way. He came in a pallak, the palanquin. So the king was on his way, because he has been searching for a purpose in life. He has been searching for a guru, for an acharya, to teach him about the Atma, about the life, about the purpose of life, about the philosophy. Because the king, he understood that everything is fleeting, everything is transitory, everything is temporary. So king was traveling on a palanquin. There are 4 people who are carrying the palanquin. The palanquin means pallak. The 4th palanquin bearer fell sick. He was running high fever perhaps. So the king was forced to travel only with 3 palanquin bearers. Because the third one on one side, he had to carry the whole burden, the whole weight on his shoulder. So when they reached near the tree, they saw this young, energetic, healthy Jadabharatha. So what they did, they took hold of him, and they caught hold of him, and they saw that he has got the same very rich cloth, because he did not remove the clothes which he was asked to wear, which he had adorned the jewelry. He didn't care. He didn't care to remove those jewelry. He didn't remove those clothes. So they thought he is quite rich. And hence, whether rags or rich, it's all the same to Jadabharatha. So because of his well-decorated appearance, the king and his men did not realize that Jadabharatha was a jnani. So they asked him to help in carrying the palanquin. And Jadabharatha didn't say anything. He just started carrying the palanquin and started walking along with the other three. But during the journey, Jadabharatha was singing Nama Sankirtana. Achyutananda Govinda Madhava. So he started having the Nama Sankirtanam and he started dancing while carrying the palanquin. Because inside he was singing. So he started dancing. And when you dance, when the other three were walking, what would happen? The king hit his head on the palanquin on the roof. The king hit his head, so he asked the palanquin to be stopped. Then he asked the people, why you guys are not carrying the palanquin properly? You started off properly from my palace, but the journey was smooth. What's wrong now? Why there is a jerk? I hit my head on the roof. The chief of the palanquin bearer said, the new man is making us unbalanced. He jumps here and there. The king wanted to give the new man one more chance because he is new. Maybe he will get accustomed to the new job. So he said, you should carry the palanquin properly and don't jerk, okay? Walk with a steady pace. Otherwise I would get hurt. And they started to move again. And Jadabharatha, he is lost in his own world. Now he is having another Nama Sankirtana. He is saying Keshava Madhava Narayana. So he is having a fast-paced number. So because of that, he starts to dance with more rigor. So as he danced, the palanquin again jerked in a much more violent manner. And the king hit his head on the roof this time. And he felt severe pain. He rubbed his head, unable to bear the pain. He looked out of the palanquin and he saw this Jadabharatha still dancing. Hey, Fatso, Gunda, Fatso, are you going to walk properly or should I hit you with a stick? You appear to be strong. You appear to be healthy. Look at the others who have been carrying palanquin for so many hours. You just started. Already you feel tired. Shame on you for feeling tired. They are not tired. Why are you jumping like this? Jadabharatha felt pity for the king. He felt daya for the king. It is all Bhagavat Sankalpam that he took pity on the king. He started speaking to the king, not to avoid punishment. He was not defending his action to avoid punishment. He wanted to help the king. Jadabharatha had remained silent throughout in his life. So far, he had not spoken. And now also he is not defending himself. The Lord took a sankalpam, Perumal took a sankalpam for Jadabharatha to speak now. Because this words that he is going to speak, it is so that it will be distributed to everybody through Madhavakkannan. Because this is a very important and useful conversation that we should bear in mind, each of us. So Jadabharatha asked the king, who is fat? You call me fat? Who is fat? I am not fat. Who is carrying your palanquin? I don't carry your palanquin. Because of that, I don't feel tired. So the king was confused. He came to the conclusion that this guy is mentally unstable. I think he is not right in mental frame of mind. So Jadabharatha realized that the king is puzzled, he is confused. So he continues to speak, Jadabharatha. Hey Raja, what do you see? You see the palanquin placed on a mass. The mass you see is my body. The mass. There is a lot of difference between my body and me. I am the Atma. My Atma never never is born, never dies. Atma is never fat nor thin. All Atmas look the same. They are same. ஒரு ஜீவன் மற்றொரு ஜீவனுக்கு தஞ்சமல்லன், says Swami Desikan, Vedanta Desika. One jivan is not dependent on other jivan. There are so many Jeevaathmas. All Jeevaathmas are independent of each other. And all Jeevaathmas are same, alike. They are so much minutest atomic particle size in size. You meant to call my body as being fat, but I am not the body. Who are you going to hit with your stick? You said you would hit me with a stick. Whom are you going to hit? King said humbly. King said with a fear in his eyes, you. He said slowly, humbly, calmly, because he began to understand Jadabharatha is a jnani. He said, whom are you going to hit? Jadabharatha asked. King said, you. Are you going to hit my body or my Atma? Asked Jadabharatha. The king looked at the physically able, healthy appearance of Jadabharatha with amazement. He realized that Jadabharatha was not an ordinary man. I don't feel tired, Raja, because I did not carry you. You were supported by the palanquin. The palanquin was supported by my shoulder by my hips by my feet, and my feet by the earth. Jadabharatha continued, a tree is celebrated by people as long as it grows tall, it grows wide, it gives fruits, it gives shadow. The same tree once cut is called as wood. It loses its previous name of tree. It becomes wood. After the wood is becoming a palanquin, it is no more wood. You are not being carried on a piece of wood. You are being carried on a palanquin. Who are you? Where are you from? Why did you come here? Asked the king to Jadabharatha. Never ask these questions to anyone, says Jadabharatha. Never ask. I am whoever you are. I am. You and I are both Jeevaathmas. We are here to do our karma, to lose our karma, to dissolve our punya papa karma. You are losing karma by sitting on top of a palanquin, and me by carrying it. My body was carrying your palanquin because of the karma, but I, the Atma, never carry you. One Atma cannot carry another Atma. Only one body can carry another body. The tiredness was felt by my body, but not by me. You said you were going to punish me, but you can never punish me. The Atma is never burnt nor destroyed. Krishna tells that to Arjuna. Atma is different from the body. It is bound in a body because of the past karma. If I say I am Bharata, it is my tongue which utters the words, but my tongue is not me. So, let us look at a story from Devi Bhagavatam to understand what Jadabharatha's statement. There was once a sage who desired to have a son. He performed Putrakameshti Yagam. One of the Ritvik who helps the sage to perform the Yagam uttered a mantram incorrectly. So the sage immediately expressed his displeasure at the Ritvik who was conducting the Yagam, who said the Vedic mantram wrongly. The Ritvik became angry. He cursed the sage that the sage will get a rogue as the son. The sage realizes the mistake and asked for forgiveness. The Ritvik replied, your son would be hated by all, but after some time he will be reformed and turn into a jnani. As per the Ritvik words, the sage obtained a son who was very arrogant, hated by everyone, but the sage, unable to spend time with his son, turned him out of his hermitage. The son left to the river Ganga. He saw some sages there, asked them to teach him the proper way to do tapas, and he wanted to become sage. The other sages refused because they knew his character. The son decided to imitate the other sage. He built an ashram. He pretended to do tapas. Many years went. One day a hunter shot a pig in the nearby forest. The pig did not die from the wound. It ran away and entered the ashram who was pretending to do tapas. The sage saw the pig and he said, "Hi." The syllable is part of the Bijaksharam of Maya Devi, the hi. Even one syllable of the Bijaksharam was able to help the person who utters the Bijaksharam. So by the grace of Devi, he became reformed. The hunter went after the pig. He came here. "Did you see the pig hit by an arrow?" The sage said he would be breaking his vow. He did not want to tell a lie. He replied, "Those that have seen cannot speak, and the one who can speak cannot see." So the hunter did not understand what he says. He called the others. The other sages realized that he has become a jnani. He learned the Atma Vidya, means his eyes could see, but the eyes cannot speak. The mouth can speak, but the mouth did not see. So the sense organs send signals to the Atma. Atma analyzes the signal and communicates with another sense organ. So the king says, "I feel blessed I have met you. I was in search of an Acharyan. I was on my way to Sri Kapila Vasudeva and I wanted to become his disciple. But by good fortune, Bhagavad Anugraham, I have met you along the way. And I have received Upadesham from you now." The king prostrated before Jadabharatha, paid his respect to Jadabharatha. Jadabharatha instructed him about the science of Atma. "Who am I?" you should always think. It will be my mouth which will say, "I am Jadabharatha." But my mouth is not me. When you call me fat, my body is that. Names assigned to us by our parents or the name tags to identify us, our body. Who we are is in relation to someone else. To your father, you are a son. To your son, you are a father. To your wife, you are a husband. But you are a son or a father or a husband. That is why we are not able to define anyone. You see different bodies, ants, birds, animals, but Atma is same. Like the air flowing through the flute, when it comes out in different holes, it makes different tunes. The Atma gets different bodies based on the past karma. There are no differences among the Jeevaathmas. They are all equal to each other in every way. Because of the karma vasana, memory imprint of the past millions of life, it gets stuck in the never-ending vicious cycle. It is born, dies, and once again reborn from one body to another. If you see yourself as a king and me as a bearer of your palanquin, you are seeing wrong. Those who perceive the external differences are wrong. You have to look beyond the external differences and see the similarity among everyone. That is why Krishna says, "Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. Ye bhajanti yete mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapyaham." All created beings, be gods, human beings, animals, immovable, are all same to me irrespective of whether they are high or low by caste, form, knowledge or attributes. Atma is atomic in size. All Atmas look alike. The differences you see because of the different bodies occupied by each Atma. So this is how Jadabharatha explained about the Atmas. Now he says all Jeevatmas are equal to one another. The Jeevatma in mosquito is equal to the Jeevatma in an elephant. We should know that everyone is equal to another because there are no differences. And we need these external differences to be removed when we see the other being, because of the various bodies taken by Jeevatma to spend its karma in current life. Dhanyosmi. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyosmi. Adiya.